Hello, everyone. My name is Madan Mohan Rao from Your Story. And on behalf of all of us at Your Story, welcome to this fireside chat on the 2021 call for Code Global Challenge and how it's driving an impact by countering climate change through technology. To set the context briefly, the Call for Code Global Challenge was first conceived in 2018 by David Clark Cause and is supported by IBM, the United Nations Human Rights Council, and the Linux Foundation. The challenge aims at tapping into the collective expertise of millions of developers, data scientists, technologists, and problem solvers by giving them tools to create solutions that can drive social change. Now, in its fourth year, the challenge will focus on three pressing issues related to climate change. The 2021 Call for Code Global Challenge offers a host of benefits to participants, right from prize money of $200,000, support from IBM and the Linux Foundation to deploy a solution, and much, much more. To talk to us about this year's challenge and how innovators can participate and the benefits they can take home, we have joining with us now Priya Mallya, Hybrid Cloud Build Team and Developer Advocacy Leader for Asia Pacific at IBM. Welcome aboard, Priya.
Thank you so much, Madan. Thank you for having us here. And thank you also for providing us a platform where we can talk about call for code.
Great. Thanks so much, Priya. Why don't we begin with the backstory behind this Call for Code Global Challenge? How did it all begin? How did the stakeholders come together? How does everyone benefit, Priya?
Sure. So, like you already mentioned, Call for Code is the largest tech for good challenge of its kind. It was founded in 2018 by David Clark Koss, and IBM was the founding partner. Along with David Clark Cause and IBM, this challenge also has other partners like the United Nations Human Rights Office, the Linux Foundation, and this time we also have two new executive sponsors like, Charity Water and Haifa. Call for Code, basically, in simple terms, it's a coding challenge. It asks innovators and developers world over to come up with very creative but practical, effective, and high quality applications which are based on one or more of IBM cloud services. It could be on the web, it could be on mobile devices, it could use data and analytics, it could use AI or IoT, or it could use the weather data. All it needs is to have an immediate and a lasting impact on various of the humanitarian and societal issues that we are today facing. In the first year that it was launched in 2018, we started off on a theme, and the theme was natural disaster. We extended the theme to include, health and physical and mental well-being of people struck by disaster in the year 2019. In 2020, we aligned our theme more along the lines of what the United Nations was celebrating as part of its 75th anniversary, and that was climate change. But the COVID 19 pandemic happened, and in 2020, we had an additional track for COVID 19. This year, in our fourth year, we hope to continue and ideate on what we started last year, that is climate change. Here we are today in the fourth successful year of call for code, asking all the developers and innovators of India and across the world to participate in building something practical and innovative for combating the effects of climate change.
Thanks, Priya. That's a very compelling vision indeed. Now, we hear a lot about how technology has been used by business, technology for financial gain, and so on. Tell us a bit more about how you see technology helping social goods and how it can help empower and uplift communities. Priya?
Sure. I sometimes think when we talk about technology and society, it is more like a harmony that we talk between our heart and our brains. People actually bring a purpose, and technology brings the tools and frameworks. People bring passion, and technology turns that into a solution. People bring emotions, and technology gives those emotions a life. And when purpose, passion, and emotion works in tandem with some of the pressing societal issues or needs that we are seeing today, then what transpires is an outcome that helps us bring about a very strong community community of technology, community of people that are healthier, safer, and happier. So uh, this might sound very vague, but this is actually what happens when you provide people who can work with technology a very purposeful use case on which they can put to use the solutions or the weapons that they everyday use.
Thanks, Priya, for the explanation of harmony between people, technology, and impact. Now, when you talk about technology, it also opens up this whole question of digital divide. Apparently, today, even now, more than 45% of the world's population doesn't have access to the internet. So, what are some ways in which we can make sure that these kinds of challenges bring benefits for other people also, those who don't have access to this technology? Priya?
Sure. That's a great question, Madan, and I would like to answer this question in two parts. Part one, let us talk about the digital divide itself, where everyone does not have access to internet, and this could be because sometimes network is not affordable, or sometimes we just don't have the infrastructure, or sometimes it's not that easy to use. While technology cannot solve all of the problems, what technology can do is bridge the gaps. And how can it bridge the gaps is how a lot of components where a solution passes through helps or contributes to bridging the gap. When we talk about building a solution, I think the solution passes through 4 stages. The first stage is identifying that there is a problem, the problem statement itself. The second stage is when it passes through a group of people. I call them the change makers who are wanting to adopt that problem statement and solve it for the greater good. The third step is what the technology itself has to offer in terms of tools and frameworks. And finally, institutions, these large enterprise organizations that come together to implement or deploy a solution into the ecosystem. Now, when all of these people work together, it is when some part of the digital divide is bridged. Like I said, not everything can be bridged by technology, but when all of these people work in tandem, there is a high chance that some part of it is taken care of, and that is why an initiative like Call for Code allows all these 4 components of the ecosystem to come together. Now, the second part is that not all solutions that are deployed require internet. So sometimes there could be technology-based solutions that can help people at very remote places, but they do not need, internet or any other kind of a network connectivity. And I would like to let you all know that there was this winning solution as part of the first year's Call for Code in 2018. It was called Project Owl, which was a disaster management solution that actually helped the first responders keep connected with the victims when the entire connectivity was lost. So there was no question of being connected. It was what happens when there was no connectivity. So technology also helps you solve such problems. So it is not just because we use the word technology, it does not mean that everything has to be on the network. There are solutions where we can take care of things without the last mile network, and at the same time work on measures so that you can bridge that gap as well.
That's a great example, Priya. Thanks for setting the context so well. Now let's come back to this year's Call for Code Global Challenge. Tell us some more specifics. Who can apply? What should they come to the table with? What kinds of solutions are you all looking for, Priya?
Sure. So anybody who has a problem statement or has an idea of how to solve a problem based on the theme climate change can apply. Having said, sometimes you just have an idea, you're very passionate about building it, but you really do not have the know-hows of technology. Even those people can apply. Call for Code allows up to 5 members in a team, and in harmony, all of these 5 members can be formed in such a way that somebody becomes the idea giver or somebody becomes the business development person in that team. And there are people who know technology and who can write code and bring that idea to life. Call for code, there are a number of call for code communities that are being formed across different geographies in the world. You can visit our site to understand how to join the call for code community. Sometimes you're a developer, you're in search of idea, join the community to get an idea. Sometimes you are just an idea giver, you need developers, join the community to form your team. And once you are starting to build your solution, keep in mind four things. Make sure that your idea is complete and is transferable, because at the end of the day, we do not want to localize it or restrict it. We want to see how fully it has been implemented, how much of an impact it can have in the field, can it be transferred elsewhere. Keep these thoughts in mind. See if it is effective and efficient. You know, whether it has an impact to a high priority area. Does it achieve the goal effectively? How efficiently it can work? How efficiently it can scale? Third, keep an eye on the design and the usability aspects of the solution. How good is the design? How user friendly is the design? You know, how quickly can we put to use? And finally, think about creativity and innovation. You know, make sure that your idea is unique and the approach of solving it is something that has not been tried out widely. So four things you keep in mind when you're building a solution: completeness and transferability, effectiveness and efficiency, design and usability, and creativity and innovation. And all you need is a mix of those who have excellent ideas of a specific problem and developers who can write code and use the technology of today.
Thanks, Priya. I think those principles will make it very clear for our audience as they prepare for applying for this year's challenge. Can we get back to that theme a little bit now? What made you pick climate change as the theme for this year's challenge? Climate change is also a very broad topic. So are there any subtopics, sub-themes that you're looking at specifically, Priya?
Yes. So climate change, I totally agree with you. It's a very broad topic. Having said, there is no doubt that it is one of the most important and pressing issue that we are seeing across any geography world over. It is not a topic that is very local to some countries or some continents across the planet. It is just there and pervasive everywhere. But because it is a broad topic, I think the idea is to keep it broad so that we do not miss or narrow down on any of your thought process. However, to help somebody to start thinking, what we have done is we have created three broad themes or sub themes along which we have built some kind of resources around, so that people have something to ponder on or something to start with than to start writing code from scratch. The first theme is around zero hunger. Some statistics that we have seen is about approximately 9% of the global population is suffering from hunger today, and much of the world's food is grown by small scale independent farms, and they are distributed through local community cooperatives. These cooperatives often have logistical challenges to get the right food to the right places quickly and also at affordable costs. So technology can actually help bring these paper ledgers online, and data and AI can help build a strong and intuitive ecosystem of logistics around this. So first theme that we could think of is zero hunger. Second theme, clean water and sanitation. Now, water is a natural resource we think that is most threatened by climate change, and it is a prerequisite for life on earth. I mean, you can Google for statistics and you will find such alarming numbers where we think, oh, today is the day when we have to do something, something for it. And that is our second theme, where we think technology can help, query sustainable water resources. It can simplify coordination of water construction projects, or enable the transparent cleanliness results, or such things can be done in this area of clean water and sanitation. And finally, our third theme is responsible production and green consumption. Now, worldwide consumption and production drives the global economy. Yet today the use of natural resources is unsustainable. We again see that the global carbon footprint has increased, nearly 18% from, 2010 to 2017. And that's why the need of the hour today is to reduce the ecological, footprint by changing the way we produce and consume goods and resources. And I think technology here also can help in many ways, from recommending, what are the energy efficient ways, to even recommending what products you should buy that emit the least carbon footprint into the air. Again, to repeat, zero hunger, clean water and sanitation, and finally responsible production and green consumption are three broad sub themes that we have as part of this entire climate change initiative.
Thanks, Priya. Each one of those sub themes is of critical importance. You also mentioned a bit earlier that your theme last year had to do with COVID-19. Now, even today, 1 year later, unfortunately, countries are going through the second, the third wave of COVID. India is going through a terrible second wave right now. Can you share with us some of the very innovative solutions that came out from a challenge last year to do with COVID? Priya?
Yeah. And so truly said, COVID-19 is haunting us even today. And so we really, really hope that some of the solutions that we built last year will help us cope with the very unusual situation that we are in today. Now, there are several thousands of ideas that came in as part of the COVID-19 track last year. But I would like to broadly categorize them into, again, three categories under which we saw a lot of innovative solutions. And the first category of solutions were against crisis communication. Now, most often what happens when we are in a crisis is that our communication systems get overwhelmed with people trying to find basic information. And in the COVID situation, it was more about finding places to test, finding what are the symptoms, finding where do I find medical care, where do I go, where do I not go. Even today, we are trying to figure out, how can we be vaccinated, where are the vaccines available, and so much of pressure on the communication system. And when communication lines get clogged, then people who really need help can't get through. So we saw so many innovative ideas and solutions around how communication can be better managed, during crisis situation. The second category where we saw a lot of ideas come through were remote education. Now, we often forget that when things start going wrong, then to make sure that there is no spread, then one of the first few places that get closed down are schools and colleges. And as a result, what happens? The students are at home, but they have to study. I mean, their education has to go on. Just look at it. I mean, we closed down last year. We are still not back to schools, but children are still studying. Parents are finding ways on how online education systems can run. Educators are recognizing ways how education can be imparted, and so there were a lot of ideas around remote education. And finally, we had a lot of ideas around community cooperation. Now, it is all about demand and supply. Sometimes in crisis situation, there are certain basic necessities that are in demand, and there are large either individuals or organizations that try to satisfy that demand, and that's the supply. But then, because everything else is broken in between, the demand and supply are not able to meet. And that is where small local communities start building infrastructure amongst themselves so that the demand and supply can be met. And we started to see, people using a lot of social media, aspects to build these communities, how demand and supply can be met. And hence, there were a lot of solutions around, community cooperation. And I hope that, and these solutions are today being implemented. What was an idea yesterday, because we are still in this situation, we are hurrying up to make sure they're deployed as early as possible. So I am very hopeful that some of these ideas take shape and they are of use, today and onwards, because These are very basic. Tomorrow, when we get back, it is going to be a new normal. Remote education might still be something that we may experiment, and so these are ideas that are scalable beyond the pandemic as well.
Thanks, Priya. I think you're right. Many of those innovative solutions will continue to be useful for a long time to come. Let's get back now to this year's challenge. Can you tell us what's different about the way this year's challenge is being organized? I believe there's a special award for an India specific solution as well. Can you tell us a bit more about this, Priya?
Yeah, true. So the main intention of Call for Code, like I said, is to make a difference to our society, our planet, for solving some of the really pressing needs that or issues that we are seeing, climate change being one. And hence our attempt year on year has been to make sure that this specific challenge and all the resources associated with it are as accessible as possible. So while the main challenge itself is yearly, and it starts somewhere in March and it ends on the 31st of July every year, we are starting to create avenues where several of the ideas that come up either in the year or from previous years go for community based implementation, so that it is not like a one time hack, but it's a journey that we start and we take it to completion. So you can look for something called Call for Code open source projects and start getting connected with these projects of your choice. You can achieve two things with it. First thing, you start your journey to community-based development, which will soon become a reality as we transform our development projects. And two, you can contribute to some noble cause. So, what was just a coding challenge before has now been opened up as, open source projects for developers to participate and contribute all through the year. And yes, India has something special this year. Now, India has had the maximum participation in the last 3 years when it came to Call for Code. No doubt, we are the second largest developer base world over, and we are very passionate about giving back to society and to acknowledge all of the efforts in the last many years. This time, we have India Award. And there will be a chosen team from India who will be, able to have a prize of $5,000 as prize money. So that's an exciting one for India, and I hope we get to see a lot more solutions this year for climate change.
Thanks, Priya. There's very good news for all prospective participants, especially the ones from India as well. Now, I believe IBM also has some resource kits from experts from IBM to help participants jumpstart their own solution. Tell us a little bit about this and how it can help participants, Priya.
Yes. So IBM builds resource kits to help the participants jumpstart. So it's nice. It's like you don't have to start everything from scratch. You already see some tools and some code which is already there on which you can build your solutions. Now these resource kits, what we do is we usually align them to the sub themes. So we have resource kit along the 3 sub themes that I just mentioned: zero hunger, clean water and sanitation, and responsible production and green consumption. For each of these sub-themes, we have taken a use case from the field. We have built an architecture, a technical architecture that can help solve that use case. We have built technology kits that contain, tutorials on every key technology that forms part of the architecture. We have references to something called code patterns. Now, code patterns are basically working code. It's an end-to-end implementation of the use case that we have open sourced. And then we have data sets that we provide as part of these resource kits. This data set provides you further information on the selected use case. And finally, we make available to you NGO documents, which help you measure the impact of your idea, which helps you find the progress of the solution that you are going to build for the use case that you have taken. So all in all, you will find references to working code, you will find tutorials for technology, you will find data sets to help you build your solution, and documents that will help you find the progress or the impact of your solution in the field.
Thanks, Priya. I'm sure the audience would appreciate that they get access to documents as well as design code and so on. Now, you mentioned earlier open source and that participants can form their own team or they can even design a code for an existing open source project. Can you tell us a bit more about these kinds of resources that the IBM team is providing for participants?
Sure. So we've already discussed about the resource kits that IBM has developed to help participants start off early on their idea. We also have a strong developer advocacy team that enables the developers on technology. And these developers impart their enablement sessions via various conferences, various meetups, etc. So that is another help that we provide. One is the resource kit that has code patterns that are open source and you have access to it. Second is the enablement that we provide via our developer advocates, through conferences and meetups. So, details of how you can get in touch with or register yourself to these kind of conferences and meetups are available on developer.ibm.com. You can go and register yourself for a conference that's upcoming. You can view or watch the replays of the ones that have recently happened. You can subscribe yourself to the IBM Developer Connect meetup groups. We have Facebook pages for IBM developer community. Get connected with them, and then you will stay connected or be up to date with a lot of events that are happening from IBM for you to get skilled on various of IBM technologies.
Thanks so much, Priya. Before we wrap up, can you share with us some technology trends that you see coming down the road and what you're very excited about? This call for code already sounds very exciting, but what else is it in the field of technology trends that you're excited about, Priya?
Well, this is my personal opinion, and I'm excited about three key areas, and this is what I keep telling myself, my team, or a lot of people, and that is because I'm very passionate about these three areas. First one I am excited about is intelligent automation. Now, automation of activities can enable the businesses to improve their performance by reducing errors. And it not only improves quality and speed, but in some cases it achieves outcomes that go beyond human capabilities. So from business workflows to IT operations, I think the future is all about AI powered automation. So one area I'm very excited about is intelligent automation. Second area is 5G. Now, we live in an era where we are defined by speed and change. And I think all of the new technology that is built to make life easier or safer or healthier requires permanent availability of data and also transfer of this data at very, very fast speeds. And 5G is a technology that allows us to bring that to life. So that's one area I think I'm looking forward to. And finally, I'm looking forward to quantum computing. I think because that will lead us to an era where complex problem solving becomes the need of the hour, and quantum computing will allow us to achieve that. And every generation paves its way to the next, and so I'm excited about what this generation leads its way into the quantum era.
Thanks so much, Priya, for your time and the very valuable insights you shared with the audience, the very practical tips on how to apply, and the passion. You bring so much passion to that field. It's so inspiring to see this. For all those listening, we hope that this chat provided you with valuable insights on how you can join the community of 400,000 developers and problem solvers to combat climate change. The URL once again is developer.ibm.com/call for code, all lowercase. So don't miss this chance to leverage technology for social good. Applications for the challenge are now open from now till July 31st, 2021. We do hope you answer this call and look forward to some interesting solutions this year. Until then, stay masked and stay safe. Thank you again so much, Priya. Thank you.
Thank you so much.